Good morning, afternoon, or evening, everybody, and welcome to Pangolin, the Conservation Podcast. The show dedicated to exploring and amplifying the world's underappreciated conservation stories. The stories that inspire me, and I hope will inspire you too. I'm your host, Jack Baker, and welcome back to Season 5 of the show, where this series we are celebrating all things Africa. Last time we talked all about the wonderful pangolin, and this time I am joined by the absolutely fantastic Cam Whitnall to talk all about his work on the continent. Cam helps to run his family's zoos, Paradise Wildlife Park, and the Big Cat Sanctuary. And you might know him from TikTok, Instagram, or his TV show One Zoo 3, all of which are absolutely fabulous. And if you haven't seen him on there, go and check them out because they're absolutely brilliant. Once you're finished here, of course. He's here today to tell us all about those things, but also to talk about his experiences supporting different conservation organisations across the continent of Africa. So we get to chat all about what it was like to visit Ol Pejeta and see the last northern white rhinos, why Uganda is one of his favourite countries in the world, and why his favourite underappreciated African species is the magnificently scary and terrifying shoebill. If you don't know what a shoebill looks like, once you finish looking at the TikToks and Instagrams and things, go and look up a picture of them because they are bizarre but wonderful, and yeah, go and check them out. Just be prepared. But without further ado, let's get started. And welcome back to the show. I am now joined by Cam Whitnall, a TV and social media star who is kind of using his platform to promote conservation. Today, he's here to talk to us all about his experiences working with a zoo, Paradise Wildlife Park, but also kind of in Africa. And so, yes, thank you so much for joining me today, Cam.
Thank you very much for having me. Looking forward to being on, and hopefully, I'll give you some good answers.
Yes. It's my. I mean, I hope you'll give me some good answers as well, but I'm sure they'll be good. I'm sure. So no, I gave you a little bit of an introduction there, but I always kind of do research on my guests. I find out things about them, but then I always think the best people to introduce themselves are the guests. So I don't know. Is there anything you want to let the listeners know? Anything they should know about you?
Yeah, sure. So I guess I've grown up on a zoo my whole life.
Mhm.
So I work for my family's charities. So we've got Paradise Wildlife Park, which is in Hertfordshire, UK, and I've got the Big Cat Sanctuary, which is based in Kent. So yeah, my family and I work between both sites with our amazing teams. And then my brothers and I have a TV show called 123. We've also got a new one coming out this year, a spin-off series called OZT Goes Wild in Britain, which has been cool, dipping my feet and toes into the TV world.
Mhm.
I'm on social media, on TikTok and sites like that, just kind of spreading and raising awareness for wildlife, and I'm also a wildlife photographer, a Nikon creator. So
Mm. Yes, a little bit of literally everything. All of the different avenues you can go down in the terms of like conservation. Just tried a little bit of everything out.
yeah, why
Um,
not?
yeah, exactly. Like I feel like that's the way. Is like you have to just. I feel like in conservation you have to wear many hats, and you have to at
Yeah,
least be aware of like, okay, I can do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and yeah, nailed it. Every single thing.
spot
Um,
on.
yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah.
it's like you don't have to be good at everything, but at least you like. I'm like average at everything, and that works for me. Yeah.
I mean, if anyone listens, follows you on Instagram or TikTok or any of things, they're going to know you're lying because the photos and stuff that you post are excellent. But we'll say average to maintain the illusion that yeah.
Thanks.
But no, so yeah, that's really interesting. I feel like yeah, you're kind of living my dream, probably a lot of children's dream, in that it's not just that you work in these places, you grew up in these places, your family owns a zoo, which I think is absolutely fantastic. And such an interesting story, and probably a podcast unto itself of like hours and hours and hours of questions I could have about that. But like, in its briefest form, could you tell me a little bit about like that? Like, what is Paradise Wildlife Park and the Big Cat Sanctuary? What do they do? What's it like to be there or grow up there? Like, there's so many questions, but yeah, take whatever that ball of questions was and turn it into whatever answer you want to.
Yeah, okay. I mean, it's a long story. I'll
Yeah.
try and make it as short as possible. So Paradise, basically, my granddad and nan purchased about 37, 38 years ago now.
Hmm.
At the time, it was Broxbourne Zoo. It was regarded as the worst zoo in Britain.
Hmm.
And they had a bus and coach company. They needed somewhere to park them. So they found this site, and it was really neglected.
Hmm.
They had animals chimpanzees that smoked, and they had a rogue baby elephant, and just animals in severely bad conditions. And obviously, they felt really sad and they wanted to make a difference. So they sold off their bus and coach company and purchased the zoo, which
Hmm.
everyone thought they were crazy for doing. And it kind of started with Bobby the lion. He was kind of kept in a tiny little cell at the time. And he was about between 12 and 15 years of age, never been on grass before in his life. So they started by building him an enclosure so he could run on grass for the first time. And that's what they did. And that's how it kind of started. And they changed the name to Paradise Wildlife Park. And then in 2001, my granddad had his passion's big cats, in particular tigers. So he set up the Big Cat Sanctuary, dedicated to the excellence of welfare and conservation and education and research. And yeah, it's an amazing place. It's beautiful down there. It's off show to the public, so you can only go for exclusive experiences through lodge stays and experiences and tours. And then we have open days in a year, 5 open days, which you can go and visit. And then Paradise is very different. It's more of your traditional zoo in a way where you can go and walk around and see the animals. You also have a massive animatronic dinosaur park, which is really cool for any Jurassic World or Jurassic Park nerds.
Hmm.
I'm one of them. So that's really good fun. And obviously, we're actually changing our name in 2024 to Hertfordshire Zoo. And we have some really big plans for the future. We partake in conservation all around the world, both sites. So yeah, we have big plans over the next 20 years.
Yeah, I was
Uh,
gonna say you're gonna be busy. Your granddad's probably left a list of like, oh, just all of these small major rebranding tasks for you to do over the next 20 years. It's fine. It's fine.
yeah, yeah,
No, it sounds really interesting, and I'll hold my hands up. I'm shamefully admitting the fact that I have never actually made it down south to visit you, and I need to
what's going
come.
on?
I know
What?
I have to like I because it's one of those ones where I'm like, I think growing up in Scotland, I like our holidays like when we were a child were in Wales, which makes no sense given we have to go through England and all the way across. But
Okay,
that's where we went and never really explored the south of England at all. So I need to like I'm my goal for 2023. I will come down and I'll bother you, and I will make sure that to have a proper look
do it,
round. Yeah.
do it. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. We've got lots of exciting stuff coming this year, so
mhm.
and happening. So yeah, come down and visit. Show
Yes.
you around.
Perfect. And yes, I'll admire the big animatronic dinosaurs as well, and
Yeah, cool.
probably let the inner child out. Even though I'm probably should be caring mostly about the animals. When you see them, sometimes my eyes just like light up, like wow, like it's
Yeah,
just ridiculous. I should,
epic,
yeah,
epic. Where are
yeah.
you from in Scotland, by the way?
I'm from Dunfermline, which is
Okay,
just outside of Edinburgh, so
nice.
like
Yeah, yeah,
just north of Edinburgh. Yeah, so
nice. Good
yeah,
spot.
it's the perfect place to grow up because like it's close to the city of Edinburgh, but then you go 10 minutes in any other direction and you feel like you're in the middle of nowhere. So it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Nice.
Yeah. It's one of those ones I don't appreciate how great it was to grow up in Scotland until I talk to other people who now are obsessed or like love it or have been north and yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, obsessed.
Mhm.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
One of my favorite countries. Yeah.
Yes. This is that it always is like a little win for me when I'm like, yes, we can convert everybody to just loving it.
Oh, it's so good. Also nature and wildlife as well. You just gotta love it.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Yeah.
big fan.
Ah, thank you, thank you. I love how I'm speaking as if I run and designed the whole country. Like, yeah, it is great. Thank you so
Ah,
much.
own it.
Oh, but no, like I think yeah. So back on the actual topic, instead of just heaping praise on the country of Scotland, um, um, what I wanted to ask about is like, so you mentioned kind of you have this TV show as part of the zoo and all sorts of stuff. And I think what's really great about it is that kind of highlights the kind of day to day of the zoo. I appreciated like the first ever scene is mucking out a tapir pool, which
Yeah,
appreciated the day to day aspect of that. But then also there's like segments about conservation and stuff as well. So it kind of highlights both sides of the coin in terms of zoos and the important stuff that they do. And so I wondered, like, in terms of the conservation aspect, what does kind of your multiple sites, what's kind of the projects you work on, or like what are your kind of conservation goals with them?
Oh, it's a big question. There's a
I
lot to answer.
I know I do that. I have a tendency to ask impossible questions. I'm sorry.
So I guess just in general, a good zoo today needs to
Mhm,
have conservation at their core. Not only support, but do conservation all around the world, and that's what we're doing. And in fact, we're moving further towards
mhm,
closer towards that. We have our conservation officer Andrea, who has pretty much written up our entire conservation strategy over the next 10, 20 years, which is really exciting, and we'll be announcing when we become Hertfordshire Zoo. But I mean, we work with projects all around the world,
mhm,
from Africa to India. It's really exciting, and that's my favorite part of what we do.
mhm,
In truth, it's the most rewarding part, and it has the greatest impact on, I guess, the planet, which is key. But yeah, and obviously, my favorite countries I've been to are African,
mhm,
uh, East Africa in particular. Uganda is, we have conservation partners in Uganda, in particular UWEC, and we've worked with the Ugandan wildlife authorities as well with some of the bits we've done out there. But yeah, it's amazing, and to be able to do it with my family and our teams, and also meet the inspiring people all around the world, is that's the best part.
mhm.
And then obviously the animals is like the best, but the people behind it is equally as good.
Mhm. Yeah, I think like yeah, when I don't know if it was the same for you, but like growing up, you thought of like conservation. I thought certainly of like conservation as like an animal thing, and like there was the people that you would listen to, and like were it's super inspirational. But the more you grow up and the more you learn, is actually as much, if not more, a human thing than it is an animal thing. Like, was it the same for you? Like, did you have that change, or were you always like, this is a human thing as well?
Um, yeah, I guess the more I got out to these projects and,
Mhm,
and saw it firsthand, the more I started to realize it was more conservation is more about the people rather than the animals.
mhm,
Because unfortunately, we're the ones that have impacted the animals, and we're really the only ones that can change that. And you know, we mainly promote flagship species because sadly, the lesser known species don't get the love. But
mhm,
that's the importance of flagship species like tigers and elephants, where money goes to them, and then it gets trickled down into the ecosystems around them and the animals around them. But not only that, the people. The people. For example, gorilla guardians. Perfect
mhm,
example. Gorilla guardians are a group in Rwanda who are all ex poachers. They poached gorillas, buffalo, elephants, all
mhm,
sorts, and they'd been converted through conservation to now become guardians of the gorillas. And that's how they make their money. Instead of killing the animals, they now protect them. So, yeah, it's pretty special. I'd
mhm.
say humans are more important in conservation, personally.
It's yeah, it's a weird one to say 'cause it's you don't like deep down the inner child in me is like no, it's the animal, but like, no, it is like yeah, and the more people I talk to on the show, and the more people like you can start to realize yeah, it's like growing up in the UK, like I feel like you have this assumption that we need to go and save things, and then actually no, you have to go and talk to people and learn about people and like do all that sort of stuff, and it's really like yeah, really really interesting.
Yes, and you go to these parts of the world which have don't have much at all,
Mhm,
and that is their livelihood is protecting their family.
mhm,
So I think kind of with that, just in conservation with humans as well, like you need to understand and appreciate their cultures and their differences, and I guess the differences in their everyday life compared to us in the Western world in a way,
yeah.
which is important. And I think it gets overlooked a lot of the times. A lot of the times, people just assume, it's all about the animals, but yeah, the people are the key part of it all.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's yeah, really interesting. And I guess speaking about the people that you have worked with, that's an excellent smooth segue there. I'm very proud of myself. Uh,
Nice.
speaking of the people that you've worked with, I guess like the focus of this series is entirely Africa, and you've given some kind of African examples already. But are there any like projects that the zoo works with that are like particularly close to your heart, or like particularly like in Africa that you kind of are really passionate about that you'd kind of are really interested in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as I mentioned earlier, in Uganda with UWEC, my brothers and I and our teams and parks donated an animal ambulance to help with the rescue, rehabilitation,
Mhm.
release of Ugandan animals.
Hmm.
And we got to send it over there. And I guess within that first week, we got to relocate a baboon,
Hmm.
release marsh terrapins from the illegal wildlife trade, collar an elephant, and all sorts. And
Hmm.
since we've donated that ambulance, they've rescued over, I think, 500 animals now, which is really great. Using
Hmm.
that. Um, and then that relationship actually stemmed from my granddad back in the day as well. So we actually sent two lions back to Uganda as
Hmm.
part of the education program over there, which was really key in saving lions.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I'd say UWEC in
Yeah.
particular for Uganda. In Kenya, I'd say Old Pejeta, the last
Hmm.
home of the last two northern white rhinos.
Hmm.
Old Pejeta is an amazing conservancy. I definitely recommend going if you are ever in that part of the world. But to meet Najin and Fatu was a really emotional experience and one that I'll never forget. So I'd say Old Pejeta is definitely at the top as well. And in truth, Tanzania, when we went to Tanzania, Canines for Conservation.
Hmm.
They're an African Wildlife Foundation project where they pretty much deploy sniffer dogs and anti-poaching dogs around seaports, airports, and also in the field to take down, wildlife smugglers and contraband and illegal products or animals. Um, so definitely all of them.
I was gonna say that's opened so many questions in my mind where I'm like, I have so many follow ups because that's so interesting. I guess like starting with the kind of ambulance point, and you said that was Uganda.
Yeah,
Like actually noticed the other day when you posted like you were doing like a little Q&A thing on Instagram, and you posted saying Uganda was one of your favorite places to visit like in the world. Is
yeah.
it mainly because of that charity and the experiences with the ambulance, or is there just something a magic or the species that are there? Like, what is it really that like made it for you like one of those places?
I think just Africa as a whole is magical. I
Yeah.
think, to be honest,
Mhm.
it's just amazing, and it's not just about the animals, as I always say. It's about the
Mhm.
people, and the people there. They're like our second family.
Yeah.
You know, um, we're really close to the teams at UWEC,
Mhm.
and not just UWEC, but the UWA, the Ugandan Wildlife Authorities.
Mhm.
But it's just buying into their culture and seeing how they do things is
Mhm.
really special. And then being in the national parks to see African animals,
Mhm.
there's nothing beats it. It's the best place I think to go to see wildlife in the world, to see elephants and lions and leopards and hippos and everything.
Mhm.
Shubal storks, we saw Shubal storks as well, which was awesome.
Mhm.
And I guess in Merchant Falls where we went, the sunsets and sunrises, even
Mhm.
simple things like that, are just spectacular. It's like you're in a scene from Star Wars in like Tatooine or somewhere like that. I'm a bit of a Star Wars nerd, so
Mhm.
uh, it's like you're on a different planet.
Mhm. Yep.
So yeah, everything about Uganda and parts of Africa is amazing.
Mhm. No, I couldn't agree because I have been lucky enough to visit South Africa. And like it was one of those times like I was on a safari kind of truck taking pictures, and they actually had to say, like, Jack, you need to stop because we can't stop and take pictures of every warthog we pass. We're gonna pass 100 of these. Like you're just gonna have to grow to accept like this is just how like you're gonna see amazing wildlife everywhere. We can't stop for them all. I'm like, okay, fine, fine. But no, like I can see how it would like it really gets under your skin, and I imagine Uganda is the same in terms of the like diversity of species and everything. It's fantastic.
It's
Yeah.
amazing,
Mhm.
amazing.
Yeah. And I guess the Tatooine sunset kind of thing. It's such a strong image for people who get that. They'll know exactly what you mean because it is.
Yeah,
It's like that. Like it's other like for like everything about it is so different, and that's what I love about visiting. Like visiting cities in Europe or wherever or the US or whatever, really interesting, so fun to do. But when you go somewhere that's so different to what you're used to every day, even the sun and all of these things that you take for granted when you're at home are different. Like it's
yeah,
just so fantastic. So yeah, I can see why that might be a special one. Um I mean, and I guess as well, like being on a wildlife kind of ambulance there, like you must have learned so much. Like what was it like? Did that change your perspective on conservation, like seeing what goes on the front line, like a completely different day to day than what would be normal for you, I guess. Like, does that change your perspective and like, I guess, increase the love, of course? But
definitely increase the love.
yeah.
I mean, I learned a lot, don't get me wrong, but
Hmm.
I think it was kind of like an injection, really. It
Yeah.
was just another kick, motivator to just do
Hmm.
more, and that's what it was. To be honest, I live and breathe it. I've lived and breathed it my whole life,
Hmm.
and to be out there and doing it in person was just like the best opportunity and experience I've ever had.
Hmm.
And obviously, since then, I've been to many other countries and places where I've been able to do similar things. And yeah, I just think getting out there and living it is just the best part of it all,
Hmm.
and just taking it all in.
Hmm.
I pinch myself a lot of the time because it is special, and that's why I love also documenting it. So I film and photograph it, because you can hold on to those memories forever.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. That's why like. I feel like that sums up the perfect like. Whenever somebody says to me, "Jack, you're taking too long taking pictures. We need to like actually move." That's the response. I'm just gonna play them that clip now and be like, "Yes, this is why I do it because I want to capture this like moment for it and like keep it and document it like because it's so special and so like a pinch yourself. That's a good response. I can't tell if you've been asked that before or you just nailed the answer like first time, but either way, I'm impressed.
Really, yeah. It is though. Like a photograph freezes time, and yeah, I look back at the pictures that we captured in Uganda and all parts of East Africa all the time. It's
Mhm,
special,
mhm.
really special.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, another smooth transition. And speaking of really special, really, really special is the fact that you actually got to go and see while you were kind of doing your adventure across all the kind of different countries of Africa. You got to go and see the last kind of two northern white rhinos at it was all I always for some reason my dyspraxic brain the letters always get mixed up in my brain because I all all I can't even say it
Okay.
all pegita. I knew it was
Yeah,
that, and you know that way where like I can read it on a page and it goes okay, and then it can't come out my mouth. There we go. Perfect, nailed that. But you got to go and see like these two incredible amazing animals, which are the last of their kind, and that like I can't. It must be the kind of like so inspirational, so inspiring, but also so emotional and kind of. I don't know how I would feel. What is it like to go and see these amazing animals? Like,
yeah. I mean, Najin and Fatu meeting them, and
mm-hmm,
also their carers
mm-hmm,
in James Wendu, who we met and we still keep in touch with. He's amazing. He's
mm-hmm,
not their carer anymore, but he's still very close with the Northern White Rhinos. But if
mm-hmm,
you don't know him, then definitely check him out because he's awesome. Um, yeah, Najin and Fatu, seeing them,
mm-hmm,
incredibly emotional,
mm-hmm,
as you can imagine. The last two, we've allowed it to happen.
mm-hmm,
Um, I think it was kind of a moment you could naturally just take in and just take it all in, being there with them alone. It was really difficult, in
mm-hmm,
truth, seeing it. I got really emotional. I had a little cry, and I think most people do, to be honest with you, when they do see them.
mm-hmm,
Um, but it's an important message. I think, obviously, meeting them, and I guess when Sedan died, the last male.
mm-hmm,
I mean, it went worldwide, and it was kind of. I think it kick-started in a way a lot of conservation, mainly awareness, not just for the northern white rhinos, but species all around the world.
mm-hmm,
Um, it was like a moment where you thought, "Wow, like this has actually happened. We've allowed a species to go extinct. Um, well, soon to be extinct."
mm-hmm,
Um, and yeah, just being with them was a moment I'll never forget, as I said earlier. Um, but it's also heartwarming and rewarding as well to be able to
mm-hmm,
say that you've met them, um, and also um, it's important to save the rest of them, the rest of their subspecies. I mean, Sumatrans are critically endangered. There's not many of them left.
mm-hmm,
Indian blacks, southern whites are doing fairly well, but um, yeah, it's always difficult. They actually had a southern white female in with them to give them company. They're a bit more aggressive. It's kind of interesting
mm-hmm,
meandering around her and kind of stepping back. But Najin and Fatih they're incredibly docile, and
mm-hmm,
I think the way they were, they just seemed sad. And I know they weren't, but I guess just the whole idea of it all. Um, I'm not sure why they just felt sad. And we got to go up to them, give them a little stroke, and just be in their presence. And yeah, it was amazing, but
Mm.
sad.
Yeah, it must be, yeah, incredibly difficult when it's something like as icon like every species is just as important, and but there's something about that kind of species that is iconic for everybody would know what a rhino was. Everyone would kind of recognize like, oh, that is an iconic creature, and so to be in the presence, like I think it hit like when you talk to people, it hits people less hard when it is something they're less familiar with. But when it is something like that, when you're kind of like that is the icon of documentaries and films and everything, like it's a tricky one to kind of deal with in your head. And even like when I saw the news story about Sudan, and I was kind of like hit, and like it's like, oh, like I didn't think I would be like, because when you're aware of conservation, you're kind of like, I know the realities of these things, like I know like this is the situation, but when it actually happens and one of them passed away, you kind of had that like, oh, okay, like this is actually, yeah, a serious thing. It's really interesting, and yeah, I can see why you would have gotten emotional, because it's yeah, it's really yeah, an important moment in kind of history, not just, yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, really really interesting.
But obviously, through IVF, they're
Hmm.
hoping. I mean, they've extracted 20 embryos, I think it is now, or 22, something like that,
Hmm.
to try and keep their bloodline alive. So we're hoping they'll be able to bring them back
Yeah.
if it all goes successful through a surrogate Southern White.
Hmm.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
I've got my fingers crossed.
Yes.
But they're doing good work.
Mm. Yeah, that's a sign of a true good conservation educator there, not leaving us with the unhopeful message. You're kind of going, actually, no, there's something there. And I like that. That's, yeah, really
Yeah,
encouraging. Yeah.
you've got to stay hopeful, haven't you?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like you can't. I find that sometimes when like you read the news stories and you're like, I feel like you could have framed this in an entirely different way and it would not have made me so upset. But I'm actually like, no, there's hope. There's hope. There's good things. And I think that's like, yeah, that's like, yeah, really important. A really really important thing to kind of talk about. Um, I guess the third thing you kind of mentioned was the kind of canine unit conservation. Could you tell me more about that? Because I do. That's the one. Like I went through and I've learned about gorillas when I'm doing the research. But I didn't actually hear about this project. So could you tell me a little bit more about it?
Yeah, of course. So as I mentioned earlier, canines conservation,
Hmm.
they pretty much deploy anti-sniffer dogs and anti-poaching dogs around East Central Africa now. I think they're going
Hmm.
all over Africa, to be honest,
Hmm.
at seaports and airports, and yeah, conservancies and ranches and national
Hmm.
parks to you know stop the illegal wildlife trade. And the success was absolutely incredible. And the dogs are amazing. I love dogs. Who doesn't, you know?
Yeah.
But no, it was really special to see the work that they do, and they really do make some huge busts, a lot in pangolin scales. Obviously, the world's most trafficked mammal.
Hmm.
Um,
Bonus points for mentioning that. Guests don't usually, so bonus points for you there.
Thanks. I know, no
Mhm.
worries. But yeah, dogs are making a huge difference to national parks and wildlife, not just in Africa, but all around the world, in slowing the trade down. So yeah, it was really awesome to see the work that they're doing.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, they deserve a big pat on the back and a belly rub
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
and a
No.
Kong. They have a new Kong. If you
Oh,
don't know what a Kong is, it's a dog toy. They all get a dog toy
I
called a
like that.
Kong. They go crazy for it. So yeah,
No, I love that. Like, yeah, and yeah, I'm very like whenever I hear good dog stories, I'm a big fan because yeah, my dad is allergic to every animal, so we've never had a dog. I like whenever my friends get dogs, I abduct them and go like they're mine now. Like they're like they live at your house, but they're mine now.
yeah,
So no, that's like yeah, that's really interesting. I really yeah, because I guess like people often think about like sniffer dogs in terms of like drugs or kind of like other kind of yeah other kind of stuff like that, not necessarily wildlife related. So that's a really interesting way of doing it, and a really interesting kind of yeah a really interesting project. It sounds like really really interesting. um I guess the one other project that I wanted to mention about, and I think it's the thing that I've seen like on your social media when it pops up, it's always the one that makes me smile the most, and that is you running alongside an elephant, which I think again probably is sad in some ways, but hopeful and really like a nice kind of project in other ways. So like, could you tell us a little bit about that? Because I think it's a really interesting story as well.
Yeah. So UWork is a zoo in Entebbe in Uganda, but
Hmm.
it's not just a zoo; it's a rescue, rehabilitation, and release center as well. And a lot of the animals there are pretty much rescues. And they have a lovely vet facility where they have a lot of animals ranging from baby elephants to
Hmm.
baby chimps, to owls to marabou storks and reptiles and all sorts.
Hmm.
Um, and they have an amazing team of carers and vets and who are working 24/7 to care for the animals. And yeah, we got to meet their baby elephants and have a little go on their morning walk and their afternoon run, uh, which was a really beautiful moment. It's also very sad,
Hmm.
incredibly sad, because their parents were killed. They actually found the mother with some bullet holes in her. So obviously they're now cared for at UWork.
Hmm.
And the plan is at UWork is to create a soft rehabilitation site in either Murchison Falls or one of the national parks, and then
Hmm.
for one day release them back into the wild. So that's the plan.
Hmm.
I think they've got 3 elephants there. So yeah, hopefully it all works out.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. I think yeah, and it's a really an encouraging, inspiring kind of story that like it isn't the end of the road for an elephant if something bad happens to parents, guardians, all sorts of stuff.
Mm.
There is that kind of now somebody there who can step in and look after them. I thought that was such a nice, encouraging, encouraging story. And I guess like what I thought was interesting, and actually like I wanted to chat to you about a little bit, but it's again another whole topic all to itself. Is like the way that you portray it on social media, I think, is so good because you highlight not just the like, here's me with a running alongside an elephant. It's like, here's me doing this important, like with the elephant. Here's the conservation message. Here's the organization. Here's the other stuff that goes on, which I think
Yeah.
is so important and like missed in so much like social media. And I wondered, like, is that something you're conscious of when you're like producing content? Like, oh, I have to think that not everybody might know the context of this. I can't just post a like, oh, here's me with like, is that something you think about a lot?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
In truth,
Hmm.
social media can be very powerful
Hmm.
in good and bad ways.
Yep.
And I think a lot of social media can sadly fuel the illegal pet trade
Hmm.
and just and that's obviously massive. I mean, the illegal wildlife trade in itself is the fourth biggest illegal industry in the world,
Hmm.
worth billions. And so, yeah, I'm very conscious as to what I'm posting and the message I'm
Hmm.
trying to share when I post. Um, and it does impact content at times,
Hmm.
absolutely. Sure, people's videos when they're right by the animals, um, you know, doing certain things is great, but yeah, I want that message in there in
Hmm.
any way possible. And
Hmm.
sometimes it can be nice, just a nice animal encounter, whether it's at paradise or the sanctuary or wherever.
Hmm.
But I'm in the professional uniform, which is really important, so they know that I work for a wildlife organization.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I try and have some form of professionalism in any bit of content that I do
Hmm.
or message, but it's very difficult,
Yep.
very difficult, and it's so easy to be misconstrued on socials.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Like, is it something you have to like? Because yeah, that's the thing. When you're having these cool experiences, it must be so hard to push down the like the just childlike like joy that must come out. Be like, no, I have to be professional and not like I can show that it's like amazing without showing necessarily that like I'm just doing this for fun. It's actually for a purpose. Like, this is such a hard balance probably to strike up.
Yeah, yeah, and it's a really hard balance, and
Hmm.
yeah, I do struggle at times, and I definitely overthink it as well. But
Hmm.
I think it's just about being careful of what you post.
Hmm.
But people that follow me, they know my channel, they know who I
Hmm.
am, um, and they understand what I do. So yeah, that's really important. Is they know
Hmm.
the reasons that I'm involved and why I do
Hmm.
it.
Yeah, yeah, yes, exactly. Yes. I think that's good advice for everybody, not just people who are interested in conservation, anybody who goes out and like does an animal experience or has any of these like moments. I think that's yeah. So yeah. brilliant advice for everybody. So yeah, I appreciate that. It's good. So I feel like my mind went blank there for a second. I was like, so, and then I was like, there's so many questions that I'm just going to sit here in silence for a second. No, uh, no. So the kind of I feel like that's been a really interesting chat about kind of your experiences and everything that you've kind of done and seen and kind of experienced there. But like, I feel like this series is all about Africa, and the theme of the podcast overall is underappreciated species. So every guest I'm having this series, I'm asking what of all of this, like Africa is a big continent, and you've experienced many of the countries in
Google
Africa.
Stalk.
I was going to say it's got to be. So could you tell us a little bit about your favorite underappreciated and underappreciated species from Africa?
Yeah, definitely. Um, it's a weird one because so my one of my favorite animals is a shoebill stork,
Hmm.
and the reason I say it's underappreciated is because no one knows what it is, but when they see
Hmm.
it, they're absolutely amazed by it. It
Hmm.
blows them away, and it should. It's this prehistoric looking bird which looks like Hippogriff from Harry Potter. Um,
Hmm.
it's absolutely amazing. And it always does well on social media. Every
Hmm.
time I post a video of a Shubal stork, in particular Sushi, who is based at UX, she's a rescue Shubal stork, it always goes massive. And
Hmm.
rightly so, because everyone's just like, what is that? What is and I think if you were just walking around and you saw it, you'd probably be like, oh, okay, and then probably walk on maybe.
Hmm.
And that's why I think it might be underappreciated. But they're an amazing bird. They're really awesome.
Hmm.
If you don't know what one is, check it out, Google
Hmm.
it, or watch one of my videos or any video, to be honest. Just go on YouTube and just check them out. They have this intense stare,
Hmm.
which you'll never win in an eye staring competition with them. Um, they're I'm allowed to. They're badass. I'm just gonna say that they're
Yeah, do it.
badass.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're badass. They eat all sorts like snakes and small crocs and
Hmm.
whatever. They have two chicks and they kill one of the chicks. Survival of the fittest. The weaker chick. Um, yeah, some may say they're evil. I think they're cool. I think they're wicked.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's
What,
why.
what does that say about you as a person? I don't know. Like.
Oh man, animals are just yeah, sick, aren't they?
Hmm.
Quality.
Yeah.
But yeah, shoe bills in particular, I love them,
Hmm.
and they're just different.
Hmm. Yeah, I that's the thing, and like if you haven't, like, I will endorse that. Like, go and look up a picture of a shoe bill because the eyes, like, sometimes like there's a lot of discussion about like should we personify animals, should we not personify animals? It's impossible not like even like shoe bills, like you can't not personify them because the looks they give, they're so like full of like probably could be interpreted in many ways, but there are many glares and stuff that they give that's just fantastic. So yeah, I think
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And
Hmm.
I mean, I've been lucky to have an encounter with a shoe bill,
Hmm.
not only in captivity but in the wild as well. And
Hmm.
a lot of them are pretty aggressive. I'm going to be honest. Luckily, Sushi was very, very kind and nice. She can be quite intimidating, I'll be honest.
Hmm.
They stand quite tall when you're looking them dead in the eyes. It can be quite intimidating and scary.
Hmm.
Um, but I'm going to add one more in there, and I know it's the title of the show and all, but pangolins. Um,
Bonus points again.
I've met a few pangolins now,
Hmm.
and they are just awesome.
Hmm.
They're a really, really special animal. And every time I meet one, I'm just buzzing. I like can't wipe the smile off my face. They're just really special, and um, obviously I've seen some really sad things about pangolins, and
Hmm.
obviously when I've been to East Africa to see the trade in them and the scales that have been, I guess, busted and found, it is awful how
Hmm.
yeah, pretty much how their species as a whole is being hit. But there are amazing people at the same time raising awareness, like yourself, and conservationists around the world. Good zoos, good rehabilitation centres, sanctuaries, just trying to fight back.
Hmm.
But
Yep.
pangolins are epic.
Yes, that's the promo clip from now on. That's going to be yep, yep. Because they are like, and they're fantastic. And I think what's exciting about this series is like I went away and did series about Madagascar and all these other places that like pangolins are not found. But now I've looped back round again. I'm like Africa, they're definitely there. So I'm going to bring them up as many times as I can throughout the
Yeah,
episodes. So the fact you facilitated that this time, Excellent.
Yeah,
Um,
I literally I was in Southeast Asia at one of our conservation partners in
mhm,
Cambodia, Wildlife Alliance, and they have um, some rescue pangolins in the Cardamom Mountains at their release station. And I went one night to feed them, and yeah, it was just awesome. You know, they don't have teeth; they have these awesome long tongues to hoover up their food. Um, when they walk, it just doesn't look right. They look like they've got little skates or something on the way
mhm,
they move. The scales are incredible. They're
mhm.
just a beautiful animal.
Yeah, and I have to say the video you posted of that is simultaneously one of the best things I've ever seen and the most jealous I think I've ever been in my entire life. And I was like, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. He can
Yeah,
still be on the show. He's just
yeah.
under like a warning. No, like,
I remember when I did it, and I was literally just so excited. I messaged my brother straight away. I was like
mhm,
buzzing. I couldn't believe it. And the ones that I saw, they'd been really successful in the breeding. So one of the females I saw, um, she has four pups, pango pups, released into the wild, which is massive. And there were three others. Two, I think, were set for release back into the wild as well. One of them was missing his foot for a snare,
mhm,
so it couldn't be. But yeah, it was wicked.
mhm. Yeah. Yeah, that's so fantastic. So fantastic. And again, I feel like I should have had you on for a whole series because there's so many questions that I have about all of these things. But that's so fantastic. And like, yes, amazing, amazing, amazing. And 100 bonus points because you mentioned pangolins, obviously.
Thanks.
Um, but no, I guess that kind of we're running out of time. Sadly, just as I'm like, I have 100 more questions about pangolins and your experiences with them, we're kind of running out of time. So I feel like what I want to do is ask a couple questions just to wrap up. The first of which is kind of if someone's been listening to this and feels inspired by anything that you've kind of said or anything that kind of you've done or anything that they kind of want to be like all of these things, what was your kind of top piece of advice when people ask you for like conservation advice? Like, what is your top piece of advice?
I mean, if you want to get into the industry,
Mm-hmm.
I guess just it sounds really simple, but just do it.
Mm-hmm.
Just go out there and get that experience. Volunteer, intern, just try and get your foot in the door in any way. Study, go into education, try and get a degree. I don't know, just in any way, shape, or form. Just
Mm-hmm.
if you want to be into wildlife, whether it be zookeeping, conservation, vet,
Mm-hmm.
whatever it may be, even photography,
Yep.
photojournalism of wildlife, or just wildlife photography in general, or whatever it may be. Just get out there and do it. That's my best advice I can give, to be honest. And it's all I've ever known. It's just to just
Mm-hmm.
throw yourself in the ring and see how you sink or swim is what
Yep.
I say. Sink or swim.
Mm-hmm. That's a really good piece of advice. And like, quick bonus question: was there ever a point where you were like, I don't want to do wildlife stuff, or growing up surrounded by it, were you always like, I'm going to do this? I love this so much.
Yeah, I was always going to end up somewhere in
Hmm.
wildlife.
Yeah.
In truth, I went off to study at university at TV production,
Hmm.
just to give myself a backup option.
Hmm.
I guess that's where I learnt my skill in camera work.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I was always going to be doing something with wildlife. If it wasn't at the sites, I don't know, it would be doing something around the world within conservation for sure.
Hmm. No, I had a feeling that would be the answer, but I had to ask just to confirm in my brain. And I guess the final question I have for you is that if anyone has been interested in anything you want have said today or want to learn more about kind of Paradise Wildlife Park or the Big Cat Sanctuary or any of your conservation partners, is it all on? I presume like the main website for Paradise Wildlife Park. I presume.
Yeah, just head to our websites or our social medias, or if you have any questions after this, then just drop me a message on Instagram or whatever, and I'll answer it in the best way I can.
Perfect. Yes, and I'll put links to all of your social media, all of the kind of zoos social media, any of the projects we've talked about today. I'll put links to their websites as well, so people, if they want to learn more about the rhinos or elephants or whatever it was, they can go down and find that easily as well. Um, and I guess on that note, that's all we have time for today. And so, as much as I could probably talk to you for another hour and a half, we need to wrap up. But I just want to say a huge, huge thank you, Cam, for being on the show, for everything you do. Super inspirational. Someone who likes photography and TV and conservation communication. It's fantastic to see everything you do. So thank you so much for being here and for everything you do.
Thank you so much. I've really enjoyed it. No, I appreciate it. Hopefully, someone's learned a little something in the short amount of time that we had. But yeah, thank you very much for having me on the show.
Thank you. I mean, I've learned something, so that's that's a start. And yeah, perfect. So thank you very much. And yeah, until next time, everybody. Goodbye.
Bye.